Alright, so moving on to another Patreon request, and as always, if you would like a Patreon request, just feel free to hit the link below and head over to my Patreon and hit the 4th tier, where not only will you be able to send me a request for a new video, but also check out all the exclusive content on my Patreon as well. So, having said that, let's get in with this next video and trust me, it's a bit of a list. So I know people have sent me requests, but know that there is a bit of a waiting list for people. So just keep that in mind. I do get to them. It just takes a while. Like it does. Like I don't try to rip people off. It's like it just takes a while. I just need free time and I need the motivation. And yeah, it's a list. So there is a bit of a waiting list. Just letting you know. Sorry. Anyway, so this is a one that has been waiting for a little bit, and this comes from Bill McLaughlin, who asked me to do a fun little crossover between Star Wars Bad Batch and Stormhawks. Specifically, more or less having it have the Bad Batch run into the Cyclonian Empire. So, let's get into this. So, this would take place after, obviously, Season 1, where they've left Kamino, and the Bad Batch is on the run. Essentially, what they're trying to do is just lay low. Like, there's no real way to lay low. That is until, like, Crosshairs brings up, and he's, like, under arrest by the squad already, so he's like, he just suggests, look, there was a planet that the Empire kind of talked about conquering, but we never got around to it, so eventually, like, the Empire is going to make its way to this planet, but right now it's about, stabilizing the Empire. So what we're gonna do, like, if you want to go there, like, there's a suggestion, but just know it's on a clock. Like, eventually the Empire's gonna go to that planet. Gives them the coordinates, they go, and yeah, they do discover that there is light. They fly over, and they immediately discover, oh, these people can't get out of space. That's why this planet is so hard to find, because, like, this planet hasn't had space travel. And it's kind of interesting, because, you would think that there are planets out there of life forms, and there is in some of the Star Wars lore, but you don't see a lot of, like, not everyone has ships and whatever, but everyone has, like, there's not a lot of people who've broken out of, there's a good number, or rather small number, I should say, of people of civilizations in Star Wars that hasn't evolved to the level that, they're having space travel and whatever. And Atmos is one of them. So when they're flying over with their little shuttle, they're like, oh, they're not very evolved. That's why we never heard of this planet, because, like, no one ever came around here, like, during the Clone Wars, because they couldn't get off the ground. They're not part of the Senate. They're off the galactic census in general. So this is not a bad place to hide. Unfortunately, what they don't realize is that there's already an empire there. The Cyclonians immediately, like, attack their shuttle, like, immediately attack their ship, because they realize that's not a Sky Knight ship. So what they do is just, like, they have Talons come in and just start shooting, blaster bolt after the ship, and the shields are, like, holding up, but clearly the crystal powered weaponry that the Stormhawks have can penetrate those shields. So they're already freaking out. They are forced to land and are forced to fight on the ground. So they're in they landed in Cyclonia controlled areas. So the clones get out of the ship and fight off the Talons, kill several of them, and escape. They left the ship behind. That's the problem. So when they left the ship behind, Dark Ace arrives, because obviously the Talons called it in of this weird basically a UFO. They may as well just had a UFO show up on Atmos, and they called Dark Ace and is like, we don't know what to fucking do with this. You better come in and check this out. This is something else. Like, this is above our pay grade, boss. So Dark Ace comes in. He's like, I think Master Cyclonus needs to see this. So they take the ship back to Cyclonia and show it to Master Cyclonus, who's like, I don't know what this is, but we are going to reverse it. I don't care how long it takes, but we are going to reverse engineer this to figure out how we can use this and take off, go. We went to the stratosphere, and that's as high as we've gotten. But this will take us into space. If we can reverse engineer this and build ships and model ships like this, we will be able to conquer Atmos, and then we can start taking over other planets that are out there. And yeah, they're looking over the controls, and the Cyclonian engineers are like, we don't know. This is a little above our pay grade, ma'am. This is we're gonna need whoever flew this ship. We need to get them, at least one of them alive, to tell us how to fly it or teach us how to reverse engineer it. And Cyclonus looks over to Dark Ace and goes, "You hear that? We need at least one alive. Go get them. And then remember, at least one alive. At least one alive." So now it's basically a manhunt for the Bad Batch. Now, meanwhile, the clones, they managed to escape and jack some of the some of the Cyclonian cycles, and they're learning how to fly it, which is a little hard because it's not like a bantha. I had to do that. Sorry, I had to do that. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's not like a bantha. They try they kind of are like, all right, so Tech is immediately like, Tech is basically like, it's kind of like a cycle, but this energy source comes from crystals. This isn't like the clone fuel or the Imperial fuel. This is something else. Like, this is a little weird for us. This is above the pay grade. So Tech is learning how to use them, and they're trying to equate it to like using the cycles they've been known, like the light cycles they've known to use, but with wings. So it's a little difficult. Not to mention, Crosshairs is still Crosshairs. They don't know how they can trust him or not. Alpha, of course, is trying to be like the bridge in between, and essentially, the gang is like, what the hell do we do? Like, they're gonna come for us. They took our ship. We need to get that and get the hell out of here. And yeah, but first you got to know your enemy. You can't just run in there and fight guns blazing. So, meanwhile, Dark Ace, Ravis, Repton, and Snipe are on the hunt for the armored soldiers that they encountered. Because yeah, like the Talons told them report, like, these guys in armored suits, in dark armored suits, came out with guns that we don't know what they are. So, for all they know, they don't know what they look like underneath the helmets. Like, they just think they're being invaded by fucking aliens for all they care. And, yeah. Because, Repton brings up the point of, what if it's not like, because he doesn't believe it's like aliens. It's more like, he thinks it's more like, it's gotta be like some kind of Sky Knight, weapon. Like, it's gotta be like a new form of Sky Knight weaponry. And Dark Ace is like, there's no way in hell the Admosia would be able to create something like this. Cyclonia would be close, and even we're not that good. So this is something, I don't want to believe it either, but like, it's from another world. Like, we just gotta accept it. So, the problem is that the squad, they're not dealing with a Stormhawk, with a Sky Knight squad, because the Bad Batch is out brutally murdering any kind of Talon they run across, because it's like, if we get caught, we're gonna get killed. So they're raiding bases for resources and, food and whatever, and Dark Ace and the squad are trying to, find and locate this, this threat. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse kind of thing. It's very much, like I said, a very cat and mouse kind of situation, and the teams are essentially like just hunting one another. Eventually, there is kind of a face-off between the two. Crosshairs takes on Ravis in like a sharpshooter fight. Snipe and Wrecker go head-to-head. Repton does fight Tech. I know I wish there was like a big brain guy for the Cyclonian side. I wish there was, but sadly there's not. So Repton and Tech fight it out. You also have Fives, who helps out in the fight. Meanwhile, Hunter and Dark Ace go after, to take each other on. They do they're forced to retreat, but Crosshairs does get captured, and they take him back to Cyclonus, who's like, you're like, she can already sense like there's something like more about him, and she just says like, you're a soldier, right? You know, you must be a good, you know, you don't strike me as someone who wants to be here. You know, you must be a good soldier, and good soldiers follow orders, right? So, and you also look like a soldier without a cause. Like, that's the most depressing thing, am I right? Where it's like, you're a soldier, but you don't have a war to fight anymore, or you don't know what you're fighting for. Why don't you join us? Like, she's basically saying to Crosshairs, like, you're now, you seem like you're a free agent. Come join our team. So that's, so Crosshairs is like, alright. So he gets, like, a cool Cyclonian armor. He's teaching, he's kind of showing them how to use the ship. And Hunter's already, like, when he finds out that Crosshairs joined the Cyclonians, he's like, I should have fucking known. He's just so pissed off. And eventually, it does lead to the Bad Batch having a raid on the Cyclonian Empire, and they just get their asses handed to them. The squad gets their asses handed to them by Cyclonus herself, because they're like, we don't know how to fucking fight that. But Crosshairs reveals he was just playing the field the whole time. He teams up with the Bad Batch. They take off, they haul ass, and get out of it and leave. But Cyclonus and the rest of the Cyclonians did learn enough about the ship in the time they had it, where they're like, all right, maybe we can, you know, use something from this. Like, maybe we can learn how to make ships and whatnot. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much a Star Wars Stormhawks crossover. Very unique one. I want to thank Bill McLaughlin for coming up with this idea. And you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this story? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, if you haven't already, hit the link below to my Patreon and send a request if you would like a request done here on YouTube. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.